Okay, let's jump in and deal with 62. So it says here that we have the scenario, complete the alternative scenario column and calculate the increase or decrease in profit. Um, so we're given some current information at the time, and what we now have to do is sort of play with some alternatives. Um, this is the assumptions in the first scenario. And let's look at what's going on in the second scenario, in the alternative scenario. So they want us to increase the selling price by 5%. So you're literally multiplying the 15 times 1.05. Technically, is what you're doing. So you now have 15 times 1.05, and then you now have a selling price of £15.75. And they want you to reduce the sales volume by 8%. So, I mean, I would personally just multiply this by 0.92, or you could multiply 8% of this and take it off it, but it's the same thing. So 75,000 times 0.92 brings us down to 69,000, which means that when we calculate sales revenue, of course, we are doing this, if you like, and we get 1,086,750. Right. There's been no change to material. There's no discussion about um, well, careful, Oyen. Um, yes, exactly. Like I said, material and labor costs are variable. So material is currently 131,250 based on volume of 75,000. So 131,250 divided by 75,000 takes us to each unit being £1.75, right? So if you have £1.75 being the cost of each unit in terms of volume, when you're dealing with 69,000, because there's been a change in the volume, I'm in effect really saying £1.75 times 69,000. So multiply this by 69,000 and I get 120,750. 120,750. It says that material and labor are variable, so material and labor. So let's look at labor in exactly the same way. I will do exactly the same thing. 187,500 divided by 75,000 units. It's almost like one of these fixed budgets that we're sort of messing around with. 187,500 divided by 75,000 is £2.50. So £2.50 is the nominal cost, if you like, per unit, right? How do I know all this? This is variable. So all of these two change with volume. Now that the volume has changed, the amounts have to change as well. So what do we have now? We have here 2.5 times 69,000, which is 172,500. 172,500. Energy. So it says here that there's an allowance for an energy rise of 10%. So what happened here was that you had a starting point, you multiplied that by 10%, and you got 44,000. So they're telling us, listen, that's what it was. They're telling us that actually, no, get that revision to 8%, not 10%. So what I would do is to come back to what it was and then just take it now to 8%, whatever you come back and then do it this way. So that way your math will be safe, whatever you do. So let's go back and find out what this initial position was before we increased it by 10% by simply dividing the 44,000 by 10%. And that takes us to 40,000. So we started off at 40,000. That was the original position. Put a 10% markup on it, taking us to 44 grand. But they're telling us start at 40 and then just multiply that by 8%, and that's 43,200. Okay, great. So depreciation. Depreciation is a stepped cost, and this increases every 8,000 units. So I was talking to one of my students the other day, and she had, well, I guess because this video will now be there forever, um, on YouTube. So she had a very clever way of dealing with it. If you literally just divide it, I mean, I do it in a slightly different way, but I liked her method. 75,000 units divided by 8,000 units, and then we just round up. So 75,000 divided by 8,000 is 9.3. So we know there are 10 steps. We know there are 10 steps because, that's kind of what's going on here. So now that I know that there are 10 steps, I know the depreciation therefore must be 6,240 at every step. So I now need to know how many steps now with this new situation. So I have 69,000 divided by 8,000. So 69, of course, that's a 69 divided by 8,000, and you get 69,000 divided by 8,000 comes out at 8.625. So I round up again, and that's 9 steps. So I don't have 10 steps anymore. I have 9 steps. So I now multiply this, of course, by 9, and that should give me my answer there. 6240 times 9 takes me to 56,160. So 56,160. Right? That's the important thing. So it's telling you that you could do it manually and literally just go step by step. So going from 8,000 units, 16,000 units, 24,000 units until you get to 75,000 units, and you realize that you actually need to go 10 steps to cover the units. Okay, great. So let's just do it. Let's add all these guys together. 127,50 plus 172,500 plus 43,200 plus 56,160 is 392,610. That's the total of all these costs over here. So now that you have all of these, and you have the sales revenue over here, and you have these costs over here, you now subtract those from there. So you have 1,086,750, and then you have here 694,140. Right, 694. So we can see actually a fall in profits, and just subtract these two from each other, plus 699. 699. 699,850. That's 5710. 5710 is the decrease in profit, in gross profit. So what's the moral of this story? I think we'll see another question that looks like this, but this idea that because you have variable costs, you need to take into account the variable cost of a unit to apply that to the new number of units that you're dealing with, because the question might change the volume, and because it's variable, so you need to work at that pace of tackling these things from a variable point of view. You had step cost here. I think we see a question where we'd start dealing with semi-variable costs, but yeah, that's sort of the way to deal with this. Cool, great stuff. So this should help you definitely produce the next answer, 63. 63, yeah, and then you should be fine for those two. Cool, great stuff.